He was the boy playing hide and seek. And the bomb blast in the air of about 200 feet above the ground. So the target ignited the uranium. Due to the bomb, the man just vanished. Everything was changed into charcoal. But the major thing is, after the end of 1945 in spring, small flowers bloom in Hiroshima, and the Japanese thought that they would still build that Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And after 1945, we go to 1975. It is also the worst accident in Hiroshima in history of commercial nuclear power in America. And the accident was closed over 5 days. It was not revealed to anybody by the government up to 5 days. So this led to the major effect. And it is the world's most civilian disaster until Chernobyl 7 years later. There was no injuries or deaths, but the flowers and animals of 3 Mile Island have also got severe mutilation, and we can also see leukemia and thyroid cancer and other cancers in the people of 3 Mile Island still today. So, where is 3 Mile Island Nepal? Is in United States of America, in Daphne country, in Peninsula, 3 miles downriver from nearby town Harrisburg. So what happened was a series of malfunctions resulted in the rupture of the twin stem relief diagram. So a small explosion in containment building and the melting of half of the core of the uranium. So it was just a simple cooling problem, but it led to a severe disaster. So cleanup started in 1975 and officially ended in 1993. This is the 3 Mile Island and 2 British units. And cleanup cost around 975 million. It was a huge loss of money. So the removal of 100 tons of radioactivity fuel between 1985 and 1990s. This is the 3 Mile Island children. So let's move to the Chernobyl disaster of 1986, the world's man-made disaster in the human history. This is the Chernobyl chimney reactor, severely destroyed. So where in Chernobyl is in the Ukraine, and the neighboring countries are Russia, Poland, Belarus, Lithuania, Romania. There is the Chernobyl. It's built in 1978 up to 1979, built by Russia. So it's near to the Pripyat River. So Chernobyl nuclear plant operational errors caused a reactor explosion. It was just a simple explosion, but the series of human errors led to the severe explosion and the release of 190 tons of radioactive gases into the atmosphere. Fires last up to the 10 days, and 7 million people lived in contaminated areas, and 3 million were children. Wind carries radiation far distance up to the Eastern Europe, and we can still see the consequences of this Chernobyl disaster in Ukraine and the neighboring countries. It's reported that 70% of the radiation was taken by Belarus. So there is also the disease called the Chernobyl heart, where there is the septal valve defect in the atrium and ventricles. So this is the Chernobyl. So direct casualties of 5.5 million people still live in contaminated areas. 31 people died in 3 months of radiation poisoning. 134 emergency workers suffered from acute radiation sickness, and 25,000 rescue workers died since then of disease caused by radiation. And the rescue workers were known as liquidators. And the cancer afflicts many diseases, many others, and the increased birth defects, miscarriages, and stillbirths. It is still uninhabitable. And now, due to the radioactivity from the reactor, the metal huge cement box was built around the radioactive material. It is a fall apart, and according to the 2003 report by the Russian Atomic Energy Ministry, the concrete cells surrounding the Chernobyl nuclear reactor is in real danger of collapse, and a new sarcophagus is scheduled to be completed in 2016. So it is just a proposal, but it is not done yet. April 26th, it was a beautiful sunny day in Chernobyl. Everybody was doing their own daily works. Nobody has expected that the nearby nuclear plant will explode on that day. They were just doing the calibrations at the night on about 1:30 a.m. Nobody has expected that when the whole Chernobyl was sleeping, the nuclear plant will explode. So after 1986, the major nuclear disaster happened in Japan in 2011. It was much more severe than September 11, and that happened in World Trade Center in the US. So after a large-scale tsunami followed by a strong earthquake overflowed nuclear power plant Fukushima Daiichi. It was 20 minutes and the earthquake altered the sea level about 70 kilometers east of Osaka Peninsula and the depth of about 32 kilometers. This earthquake triggered the big tsunami, which wave reached up to 40 meters from normal level, and the wave height was smaller on another locations, being about 7 meters in the Fukushima area, and the Japanese authorities reported 15,854 deaths and 3,155 missing people in that disaster. So in addition, about 27,000 people were injured. So Fukushima Daiichi power plant, it comprised of about 6 separate nuclear reactors. All reactors were water-boiled type. That means they are cooled by water circulation. The uranium rods inside the power plant, and it maintained by the Tokyo Electric Power Plant TEDCO. And the plant was protected by a seawall protection from the ocean, designed to withstand up to 5.7 meters major tsunami. But obviously, this was not high enough to protect against tsunami on March 11, which was about 8 meters high. That is approximately double the height of this hall. So this is the Tokyo, and that not to the Tokyo is the Fukushima. So all the 4 nuclear reactors were blocked on Fukushima due to the earthquake and tsunami, and all the radioactivity were blocked to the Pacific Ocean because the wind was blowing towards east. So these are the blocks of the Fukushima Daiichi. Block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 were completely destroyed. And there was a meltdown of the uranium. But the power block 4 was extinguished by the nuclear engineer of Japan against the Japanese authority, so that the radiation didn't reach the Tokyo. Otherwise, the radiation will also have reached Tokyo. So the tsunami, the plant was protected by seawall protection to withstand 5.7 meter tsunami. However, the tsunami at that time of about 8 to 14 meters arrived 15 minutes after the earthquake, and the entire plant was flooded, including low-lying generators and electrical devices in reactor basement. Everything was flooded, and the connection to the electric grid all were broken. There were three cooling systems, but all didn't work or just destroyed. So there happened was the overheating of the reactors because the cooling systems were completely destroyed, and 3 independent cooling systems all destroyed or failed, or some of them because of the connection problems. And without any coolings, reactors and the spent fuel pool started to heat due to the radioactivity decay of the fission reaction. And soon after the tsunami, there was a partial core meltdown in reactors 1, 2, 3. And the hydrogen formed in the chemical reaction of the uranium exploded and destroyed in the reactors 1, 3, and 4. Explosions on reactor 3 severely damaged reactor building number 4. There are speculations that hydrogen leaked from reactor 3 to 4 to the underground tunnels. And there were also the explosion and fire on 2. And spent fuel rods stored in spent fuel pools of unit 1 to 4 began to overheat at water levels in the pool drops. And there was a constant production of heat also due to the gamma and beta radioactivity particle of the fission product. So there involved the 4 reactors, and it was a very complex accident because in Jordan it was just a single reactor accident, but here the 4, and it was very difficult to manage because all have different stories. So these are the 4 reactors completely destroyed. So they spread through the atmosphere, all the radiations, they spread to the atmosphere up to the Alaska, up to the western part of the America, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru, up to the southern America as well. And through the water as well, it spread. And all the fishes were not eatable. This is the tsunami. There was a massive explosion. So IAEA has classified the nuclear accidents into 4 in 7 majors. Annual 1, 2 a simple accident, 3 serious accident, 4 accident with local consequences, 5 accident with global consequences, 6 serious accident, and 7 major accident. And it was a serious accident in Fukushima. other reactor accidents happen a lot of times, but most of them are hidden by the government and the authorities, and some of them are just returning as the time goes on. And these are some of few that were rebel. In 1952 in Canada, in 1957 in England, in 1975 in Alabama in America, in 1976 Germany, 1999 Japan. In Fukushima, there was, in 2008, it was a greater concern that 5.7 meter height was not equal, was not sufficient, but the government didn't know that the tsunami will come as high as 8 meters. So they just neglected, and the negligence they paid for it in 2011. This is the accident that happened in Boeing accident in 1987. It is happened in the abandoned hospital site in Brazil, and about 1,12,000 people were examined for radioactivity material, and 249 were found to have significant levels of radioactive material. It happened because some thief stole the radioactive material from the abandoned hospital. So we also have radioactivity sources in our country, and there is no even sufficient protection and safety for that. And it may happen in our country as well. And IAEA has called it as one of the world's worst radiological incident ever happened. Zaragoza radiotherapy accident. And it also happened due to the simple minor human mistake in the maintenance and calibration of linear accelerator using radiotherapy. And it occurs up to 200 to 700% overdose. And 10 patients died, and Spanish authorities are also hesitant till today to release the details of the accident. Mexico City, it occurred when a 10-year small boy took home an unprotected radioactive source. So 4 people died from overexposure to the radiation from cobalt capsule, and 5 other individuals also received significant overdoses of radiation. San Juan de Dios accident. This happened in Costa Rica. It was also due to the mistake in just the calculation of the dose rate. So here 17 died and 140 patients received an overdose. So in Panama as well, 17 fatalities due to the overdose of the radiation. It occurred due to the modification in the treatment protocol, which was used without a purification. That means it was just used without the calibration of the warm-up procedures which we use. And the treatment time comes with twice than those required for correct treatment, but the year with only. So we also use without calibration of the CT scans. We also need even reduce the ME for the child patient. And in CCTR limit, we also don't care about the 3, 4, 5 times scanning, no matter how much radiation the patient gets, who cares? So it's time to learn that what we need to do now. Medical imaging is a key to the nuclear power in medicine. So its use in radiologic practices has revolutionized and has taken medical practices to the new world of state of art. It's just a simple radiation that we do, but it has just taken a major leap in conventional medical practices. What I am speaking to you is just also the radiation of sound energy that is traveling. So what you think about right now is also the radiation that your mind is taking and going in your nerve impulses. Everybody knows from physiology classes that our brain has a potential difference of 60 to 90 millivolts. So that energy, as we know from higher school classes, that E equals hf, a famous Planck's equation. So E is the energy, that is the voltage that's 60 to 90 millivolt, and E equals HF, and H is the Planck's constant, so that F is the frequency that is resonating in your brain. So that is a very little frequency that is resonating in your brain. So even what you can think about me or what I can think about you is all the radiation that is transmitting in our brains. So it is just a level of consciousness that we need to build up, that radiation is nothing, that it is just a part of our life. So medical imaging, it is such a beautiful and amazing subject that we are all into, that we should just speed it up, boost it up to the highest level, that we are not just doing the X-ray or switch on or switch off in the X-ray machine. We are doing a major step, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do and take a bigger challenge to do something. So lastly, special thanks to Nepal Radiological Society for giving me this platform in our society, today's body, and special thanks to the professors and all medical imaging practitioners and students present here in this today's conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Very informative presentation. We all know that Hiroshima, Nagasaki accident and the Chernobyl were really bad disasters in the history. But we also should know that from Hiroshima, Nagasaki and from Chernobyl, we are getting lots and lots of information regarding the biological effects of radiation. So we can say that many researches are going on the control groups of people who are living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as on the people who are living around Chernobyl. I think we are already running out of time, so instead of going to the question and answer session, now we will directly go to the next speaker. Maybe we can discuss if we have some comments or questions during the refreshment time. So I will invite our next speaker, Mr. Suman Barao. He is an application specialist and radiologist.